So at the moment, the Inzer Ergo Pro knee sleeves are the only knee sleeves that everybody is switching to and competing in. And I was super curious to know why, so I ended up buying a pair to test exactly what all the hype was about. And out of all the knee sleeves I've tried, from Strong to SPD to now the Inzer knee sleeves, these genuinely feel like I've added 50 pounds overnight as soon as I put them on during my squat session. So after testing and squatting them, let's find out what all the hype is around these knee sleeves, why everybody is competing in these, and are they worth the insane $250 price tag. Okay, so my first impressions of these knee sleeves in hand were kind of crazy, because as soon as you hold them in hand, you can feel quickly exactly why they are so stiff and why everybody's competing in them. They just feel night and day different compared to all the other knee sleeves. They really don't have too much flexibility compared to something like SPD, where there is a lot of flexibility. Now, not only are these able to hold its shape when it's just standing by itself, but even when you're trying to fold it halfway, it does become a bit of a struggle to do so, and that already tells you pretty much how stiff these knee sleeves actually are. And quite honestly, when I compare it to something like the SPD knee sleeves, these legit just feel like rubber. Like they really don't feel like anything else. And the best comparison I can give you is that these are like paper thin, and these are definitely structured and very stiff. That's the best comparison I can give you. Now, putting these on are also a completely different sensation. I mean, not only is it, like I just showed you, extremely hard to fold down, but when you're actually putting them on all the way up to your kneecap, as soon as you stand on them, you can instantly tell that they're so stiff that you actually kind of start waddling. That's just how stiff they truly are. And the craziest part is that once you start squatting in them, you realize quickly why these are so different. Because they're so stiff, it almost gives the sensation of that the wrinkles on the backside of my kneecap, it felt like the materials from the Inzer knee sleeves were digging right into my skin. Now, of course, while it was uncomfortable, the return was totally worth it, because during that entire squat session, not only was it a breeze to get out of the hole, but I legitimately did not break a sweat during my squat sessions. In fact, they felt so light that in my head, I was like, on my next session, I'm going to have to add 20 pounds just to offset the insane amount of gains I get from these Inzer Pro knee sleeves. Now, if you're like me and you sweat a lot, taking them off is going to be a complete nightmare, and I highly suggest you do what I do, which is using tights. Not only is it easier to slip right on over to your kneecap, but it's also easier to slip off as well. But make no mistake, even though I had my tights on, when I was sliding them off, they were still really hard. I really had to fold them halfway down and then push them down from the top with my thumbs, and that was the fastest and easiest way for me to take off these knee sleeves. Now, speaking of putting them on and off, I do want to talk about sizing really quickly about these Inzer Ergo Pro knee sleeves. Now, personally, I've always worn small in all of my knee sleeves. My SPD ones are also small, and I was debating whether I wanted to go small or medium. I was lucky enough to try both the small and mediums from my friends at the gym, and honestly, I didn't feel too much of a difference, considering going down a smaller size usually means that they're a tighter fit, giving you just a little bit more advantage on your squats. But because these are so stiff, the minuscule difference that you're gonna get from a small to a medium really didn't matter. So I decided to go with a medium for the first time, just so it's easier to put on and off. And honestly, I don't regret it. I think what you should do is go true to size. I would not recommend you sizing down, especially if you are someone who is a beginner buying knee sleeves. If these are the first knee sleeves that you ever try on and put on, I really recommend you to watch some videos on it, hopefully mine, and see exactly how you take them on and off. So definitely get your sizing right, go true to size, and good luck taking them off. Now, for anybody who is serious about powerlifting competitions, I would in fact highly recommend these knee sleeves to anybody that is competing. However, there is a lot of controversy about these knee sleeves right now. And because there was so much hype surrounding these knee sleeves, a lot of federations decided to actually ban these. And it's happened once now already. And because of the backlash from the community, they decided to unban them when they decided to ban them. But now in the next 3 months, they're planning to ban them again. But we don't know what that's going to sound like. So it's possible that these knee sleeves will stay regulated. We just don't know until that happens. Now, if you are competing, as you may know, SBD is trying to monopolize this entire sport and community. And if the Inzer knee sleeves do get banned, the next one up would be the SBD powerlifting knee sleeves. Now, they have a couple different ones, but we'll get into that in another video. So with that being said, that information will be crucial to you deciding whether you want to go for the Inzer knee sleeves or maybe go for the SBD versions of their powerlifting knee sleeves. Now, I personally bought mine secondhand from Facebook Marketplace for about $100, which is completely worth it to me, considering the fact that I actually lost just one side of my older SBD knee sleeves. And I can also tell from my friends who've been using their knee sleeves for a couple of years now that these still remain just as stiff and retain their shape. So the lifetime of these knee sleeves are going to last me probably my entire powerlifting career. Now, with that being said, the full original price of these knee sleeves is actually about $215 before tax. And I do have a hard time thinking about spending that much money for a pair of knee sleeves. However, the SBD equivalent of the knee sleeves are about $198. So it is quite competitive, and based off of that, I think you should make a decision whether you want these or the other SBD knee sleeves. I'm just happy that these are priced competitively. So to wrap everything up, I would say these are great for people who are going to be powerlifting their entire life, especially if they see themselves as very competitive. However, if you're someone who is aiming to compete at the Worlds or Nationals, and there could be a very real scenario where these get banned, those SBD ones could be the ones that you get, and these are the ones that you might want to avoid if you're only looking for one single knee sleeve to own for the rest of your life. But there's no harm in owning both. Now, if you're a beginner, I don't think you should be getting these right off the bat. In fact, I think you should get something that's maybe cheaper on Facebook Marketplace, learn how to use them, get a feel for them, and then once you get more serious, maybe purchase these ones, go to your competition, absolutely kill it, put on 50 pounds to your squat, and maybe get some cuts on the back of your kneecap. Okay, all jokes aside, thank you so much for watching, guys. It really does mean the world to me. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'll have tons of other content on lifting, fitness apps, lifting apps. So those are the things that will bring a ton of value to your life. So make sure you check those out, and hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace.